Good afternoon. Welcome to this India Research Center podcast. Today we have with us Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh, retired PBSM, AVSM, who is currently the Director General of Center for Land Warfare Studies located in Delhi. He has been a distinguished officer of the Indian Army from the 9th Maratha Light Infantry. And I would like to thank you, sir, for joining us for this podcast. And I have a special gift for you. So, as we know that, the Gwalior army had a phenomenal role in the military past of India, and Maharaja Jivaji Rao Scindia was a close friend of Field Marshal K.M. Cariappa. He's considered to be a great military hero of India. Okay. So I have, a rare photograph of Field Marshal Cariappa and Maharaja Jivaji Rao from that time.
Thank you, Arunansh. I think it's a wonderful memoir for someone to keep, especially from the army.
Thank you, sir. Again, sir, it's a pleasure to have you today for this podcast. The question that I would like to start this podcast with is, sir, what made you join the Indian Army? Like, what was the motivation for you as a person?
Okay, that's a very interesting question and quite deeply rooted to my life as well. I was in the 6th standard in Pune, and my father was in the Air Force. So naturally there was a liking for the Air Force because I used to see that was the environment in which I grew up. So it was 1971 December, and we were somewhere around in the middle of our 6th grade. And suddenly we heard over the Pune Air Base sirens blaring up, and my father told that Pakistani aircrafts have come, Sabres in those days, very famous aircraft, and they are likely to bomb us in Pune. So we had built those small trenches in front of each of our houses, so that whenever there would be an air raid, we would go out of the house and get inside those trenches. And then we saw our own aircrafts scrambling up and trying to shoo these guys away in a dogfight, etc. So that happened right in front of me as a small kid. And that kind of got struck in my mind that I will become a pilot. So that was the start of my fascination to join the armed forces, and in particular the Air Force. So I kept on working towards that. I went into school of Air Force Central School, which was run by the Air Force. So overall, I was growing up in this environment. Unfortunately, because of my eyesight, I could not make it to the Air Force as Air Force cadet. So then I said, which is the second best? So I joined the army. So that's how I landed up in the army. It was a passion from childhood. May seem quite idealistic from today's perspective, but that was the fact, and I stand by it till till the God called me up. So I am kind of wedded to the armed forces.
It's a wonderful response, sir. I mean, now people call you a scholar soldier, a scholar warrior, which is a great title for a person like you. So indeed, it was there in your destiny, or you have. What also I want to know from you, sir, is this, that you were an officer of the 9th Maratha Light Infantry.
Yeah.
And as most of us already know that the royal family of Gwalior, the Scindias of Gwalior, have had a phenomenal military past. There's a book called Gwalior Today by Michael H. Brown, in which there's a famous statement in which said that Scindias were soldiers first.
Okay.
That is our tradition.
Yes.
That the Maharaja Jivaji Rao was a close friend of Field Marshal K.M. Cariappa. He in fact joined as a private for a rupee in the army, of the Maharani's own infantry as a small young boy, and to inculcate discipline in him, so that when he grows up and he ended up, becoming a lieutenant general, that whole process, the traditions of his ancestors are ingrained in him. And why it was so in this particular family is because of their Maratha traditions. After all, Marathas were great warriors, made a big empire. And a person who has been an officer, as a person who's been an officer of the 9th Maratha Light Infantry, I would like to know from you more about this particular regiment of the Indian Army, some history about this regiment.
Well, as far as the history of Marathas go, it's probably one of the oldest regiments of the Indian Army. And you see, there is always a little bit of confusion on the dates as to which regiment got raised first. Was it the Madras regiment or was it the Punjab regiment? But suffice it to say that if you go by official figures, we were raised in the year 1768. That's a very long time back, as part of Bombay Presidency. So for the 1st Battalion, which is also known as the Jangi Paltan, you can understand the name itself. Jangi means, the guy, the regiment which fights. So it was named as Jangi Paltan, and that was the raising of the 1st Battalion. And subsequently, over a period of time, we had 2 more battalions, then some more battalions were added. But the bulk of the expansion took place of the Marathas essentially after the independence, when we have almost seen a rise of about 16 odd regiments increasing in our 16 odd battalions increasing in our regiment. So today we are full, choker block full. We have about 22 battalions, 4 Rashtriya Rifles battalions, and there are a number of affiliated battalions of the other services. Like for example, we have a naval ship accredited to us, affiliated with us. We have an Air Force squadron affiliated to us. So we have an artillery regiment, 2 of them affiliated to us. So we make a big family of Marathas, and I hope the Maharaja accepts the honor of having the Maratha regiment also as part of it. I know the troops of Gwalior state went to Kumaon, but given the fact that their roots are in Marathas, I would love that if they get associated with the Maratha regiment as well. Currently, Sahuji is the king who's descendant of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, who is kind of a father figure as far as the regiment is concerned.
Amazing, sir. I mean, this is a great relationship that we definitely cherish. I mean, whenever I've heard from the mouth of from the royal family, it's always been praises for the martial spirit of the Marathas. And you rightly mentioned about the Kumaon connection and the other connections that we have with the Indian Army. So I would like to tell our viewers some more stuff about our distinguished guest. So he has commanded a battalion, a brigade, and a division in Jammu and Kashmir. He has been the DIG and IG in the elite NSG, the National Security Guards also. So very prestigious posting, sir, you have had during your career.
Yeah.
I also want to know more about the challenges that you have faced during your career. What were the challenges and how did you utilize your expertise to deal with them? Certain specific examples, if you can tell our viewers.
Yeah, well, the military career is full of challenges. That's a given, right? But then you face some very, very major challenges which threaten life, not only of yours, but of the people who are with you, the soldiers who are with you, and sometimes the civilians who are with you. So it is definitely a career which is full of such challenges, both within the country and outside the country. As far as my career goes, I would say that the first example of my life where I felt that possibly I need to take a very crucial decision was when I was leading a patrol across the across the Pir Panjal, which is Poonch area, from Poonch area on to the other side, which is Srinagar, and it was in the middle of January, and it was the year 1986. Record snowfall. The entire Pir Panjal was covered with almost 10 to 11 feet of snow, and we were told to negotiate this huge mountain range and go across. We didn't find any route, etc. So we hired 2, you can say, local porters who served us as both kind of helping us into negotiating these peaks, as also carrying our additional stuff, because it was a 1 month long patrol. So, but it so happened that even they were unable to actually find the route to the pass. So we camped somewhere in the middle, and decided that we will create a path. So we started making a path for ourselves, and it used to be a rotational job. One day I would go with half the team, the second day my second in command, who was a Subedar, he would go with the half of the rest of the team and then make the route up to the pass. We could see the pass, but there was no route, so we had to carve out a route. On the second day, when my JCO had gone with the team, one of the porters slipped, and when he slipped almost, you can say, about 600 odd feet. And the other porter who saw him slipping, he ran away. He just returned back and he disappeared. Now, for me, it was a challenge. How should I reach there? Because he had fallen in an area where it was very difficult to reach and rescue him. So, a lot of people told me, and I was out of communication because of the weather condition, and also the fact that we were in an area where radio communication was not possible. So everything had to be, the decision had to be taken by me. I was a captain, very young officer, just joined the army about 5-6 years back. So then I took a decision. I said, nothing doing. There is a comrade of ours. He was going along with us. So he's as good as a soldier. We should go and retrieve him. So then we did some. I was a mountain warfare trained officer, and my JCO was also a mountain warfare trained Subedar. So we then rappelled down, cut our way through, went right up to the place where this boy was there, and then instead of pulling him back, then we took him down the straight. It was actually a re-entrance, so from there we could take him down the stream, because there was no water, it was all snow, so it was easy for us to take him out. When we reached there, he was unconscious. We got him up, no medical help, nothing, but we managed to save his life. And this boy, when he came to know that the other porter has run away, he said, "No, I will go with you because you've saved my life." And I think at that day I felt that there is something in this world which connects with people, and thereafter he actually went along with us, came back, and the whole patrol route he was with us. So this decision of ours to actually go into that you can say a valley where he had fallen, and then retrieve him at the risk of us losing also our maybe life, I don't know, but I think that paid off. So similarly, there have been a number of challenges. Once my vehicle was blown off, and we were 6 of us in the same vehicle. I was luckily not driving. I had another person. I was colonel that time, and there was another colonel who said, "Let me drive." So I said, "Okay, go and drive." Actually, normally I used to drive because it was my vehicle, but he requested I want to drive. So I said, "Okay, go ahead and drive." He was also colonel from the Jack Rifles, and it so happened he was on the wall side, and there was an encounter going on. And these 3 terrorists, later on, when we killed them, we realized that there were 3 of them. They threw 2-3 grenades onto our vehicle, and our entire vehicle went up into, not flames, but it just toppled, and all its tires went off, the roof went off. 3 of our colleagues got severely injured, 3 of the soldiers, including the colonel. Nothing happened to me. It was so surprising, and I just told the colonel. Colonel also had an injury on his left hand side. I just told him, just keep your leg on the pedal and let's keep driving the vehicle. After doing like this, and it just halted on the ground on the rims. There was no tire left. So we drove the bend on the rims, and we were able to come out of that area where we were attacked. And then subsequently, of course, we killed all the 3 militants. But this was something, again, a very challenging situation. But for 2 days in my city where I used to belong, in Azamgarh, the news came in the papers, local papers, that a colonel is dead on the valley, etc. In the valley, and my wife was extremely worried. And I was able to only get into contact with her after 2 days, and I said, "Okay, nothing has happened to me, everything is fine." And the other colonel, who actually has gone into the hospital, is injured, and he is also safe. So this was something which again kind of reminds me of Jako Rakhe Saiya, Mar Sake Na Koi, and like the airplane crash in
Yes.
which everybody
Died, but just one man survived.
just one person, I don't know how he survived. So there are miracles which happen, and there are many other challenges.
yeah.
As we go along, I think I'll recollect them and let you know.
In fact, you stood true to the line Naam Namak Nishan. Fought with great valor.
Yeah.
Proved your mettle in the battle. So another thing which is very important nowadays, particularly, and it's been there for a while also, that is, military modernization and new age warfare.
Yes.
So first, I will like to tell you from our perspective what we know about military modernization, because interestingly, when we look at the Sindhas of Gwalior, many people say that the first military modernization was done by Hyder Ali in Tipu. Some say it was Maharaja Ranjit Singh of Lahore. But when we go through various sources, we find that one of the first comprehensive, modernization of the forces, holistic modernization of the forces was done by Mahatma Sindhya. What he did was he got the best military experts to understand what was the best world-class military training that he can get from abroad and give to his soldiers, instill that discipline in them, the chain of command. Also utilized phenomenally better artillery. What probably new pieces of artillery were to 18th century are drones for today.
Yeah.
So there has been a significant change in the way the warfare is conducted in present day and in contemporary times. Like we saw during the Operation Sindoor, or during the Ukraine-Russia conflict, or in the case of the Israel-Gaza conflict, or various other conflicts that are going around the globe in different regions and geographies. That is, the drones that are being used, the air, how to deal with them. So as a person who belongs to the land forces, what is your opinion about the utilization of drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, and things like that, and how land forces deal with them?
Ron's, actually, let me tell you that modernization has been part of warfare. It started off with throwing stones at each other and bows and arrows and cavalry, and if you take your mind back, tanks, then counter-tank weapons, anti-tank weapons, then you have the aircrafts coming in, totally changing the nature of warfare. You have the helicopters coming in. Then you also had the counters to these. So, human being is a very, very intelligent being, possibly the most intelligent species on this earth. So, therefore, when it devises something, it also starts devising its counters. Okay, but the challenge of any kind of a new technology has always been the human aspect. You may have the best of the technologies, but if you don't have the human skills to absorb it and use it effectively in a manner that the full brunt of that technology is borne on your adversary or on your enemy, that technology is of no use. Whether you take the patterns or whether you take the sabers of Pakistanis, you know what happened to them in 71 and 65. We had possibly much lesser lower grade technology equipment, but our human mind was better off in, and similarly you find in Sindoor, look, we had legacy weapons, we had L-70s as far as the air defense goes, Zoos, Shilka, these are all second, I would put them 60s vintage weapon systems, and we did some modifications on them, made them somewhat equal to today's emerging technologies which are there, and we fooled the Chinese systems, we fooled the Pakistani systems, and we had them. So that's why I say technology backed by well trained, like what you mentioned, he got people from all over the world to train his army, to make it competent enough to use those new emerging equipment of that particular time, and that's how he was able to score so many victories. Same is the case with us as well. We are also looking for the best of the best equipment, but we have to see it in terms of our cost, what's our budgetary constraints, and then also look at those constraints leading to, if we have not been able to get the best of the best, maybe the second best, but how do you make it the best by using our improvisations, innovations and skills to make it match with the current systems in the world. Of course, there are always restrictions. Anybody who gives you a weapon will never give you its top-end weapon. It will always give you a shade lower weapon system. That's why they say PL-15 export. You know, PL-15 original would be kept by the Chinese. They will not give it even to the Pakistanis. So that much of a compromise you have to do. But in the short term, I think you have to do that way. But in the long term, the answer is on indigenization. Atmanirbhar Bharat. As far as India is concerned, Indian Army has realized, whether it is in the land, sea or air, that the future wars are going to be dictated by unmanned systems. But the key lies in having a team of unmanned and the manned systems.
A balance.
Yeah, no, a kind of a coordinated team which goes together, not a balance. So it is a team which comprises of the manned and the unmanned, both going together, utilizing the best of both the systems, and then attacking the enemy. So, for example, in the Air Force, you may have a manned aircraft controlling unmanned systems while going into the air. Some are responsible for suppressing its AD, some are responsible for carrying out the surveillance or post-attack analysis, whether the target has been destroyed or not destroyed, do they require some more sorties to go over it. And the manned guy kind of reacting to any unforeseen situations. Like you can pre-feed everything, you can have a camera loaded onto an unmanned system, yet the human mind is human mind. The enemy, you should always grant something to the enemy as well. He does something which is different from what all you have programmed your system to do. At that point in time, it is the manned guy who sees it, then can react to that particular thing. So I think there's a need for us to utilize these systems which are coming up in the new age warfare in a manner that we are able to exploit the human mind. Nothing can beat the human mind, let me tell you. Nothing can beat the human mind. Osama bin Laden was able to fool the entire system of security of the United States of America. Similarly, there have been other instances where we have been also doing similar things. The Israelis, the way they attacked Iran very recently, yesterday only.
The Rising Lion operation.
Rising Lion operation. They used both covert
and
means and overt means. And while they were using the overt means guys started activating their system. So the enemy got confused. What's happening? From where are the attacks coming? Is it coming from the ground or is it coming from the air?
Yes.
So I think it's a game which has to be played very
well. So what do you think about this? The fact that these cheap drones, the kamikaze drones, being used against very high tech technology with a really high budgetary support required. How are you going to deal with these cheap kamikaze drones, and what's the future about this?
So there are counter drone systems being developed, which would be able to take care of them in a much lower price band and more effectively. So it's just a matter of time that you will find this tactics also suddenly starting to fail, right? But there is also a concept which is now coming up, which is called cheap but lethal, right? Precision but mass attacks. See, earlier people used to say that if I have a precision hitting capability, that means if I can point out a particular target in, let's say in this entire complex, I want to hit only place A, I will program the system in such a manner that it avoids the rest of the things and hits that. For example, in our Op Sindoor, we programmed our system not to hit a masjid or not to hit a populated place and go and hit the place where we wanted to hit. That is the place where the terrorists were supposed to be staying. So that was the concept. But there is a new concept which is emerging, is that I have the precision, but I need the mass also. That means I need precision, but with a major, bigger impact on the target. So what do? I carry out mass precision attacks. So this is a new concept which is coming up. Now how do you deal with this? So to deal with this is that precision, cheap technology. So I must be able to defeat the cheap technology in a manner that my technology is also not very costly. So they are thinking of having energy weapon, directed energy weapon, laser weapons to bring down these targets, these kind of unmanned systems like the cheap drones, etc., which you are talking about, and which are now currently in the display and the flavor of the warfare. Let me tell you, the flavor of warfare changes as soon as there is a challenge posed to a particular human society. The human society starts thinking of countermeasures. So there are people already doing research, radar jamming.
Radar jamming. Okay.
So when you do these kind of things, they will fall down like, you know, paper planes, which we used to play during our childhood days. So let's wait. I think our country is also working on similar systems. Till then, we have necessary means to counter them.
Amazing answer, sir. Now, from modern technology in contemporary times, going a little bit back to the past, you mentioned the 65 war, 71 war. I want to know about your regiment's contribution in these conflicts.
Okay, if you are talking about regiment's contribution, the first line answer or one line answer to you is Maratha regiment is the most decorated regiment of the Indian Army. That is something which I can tell you upfront. And I am telling this right from 1768 onwards till date, till as on today. Our contribution has been immense during the various wars which the British fought initially, whether they were in Afghanistan or whether they were in the Europe theatre or whether in the Burmese theatre, anywhere. The Marathas have always performed well. We had 2 Victoria Crosses in the World Wars, so which is Namdev Jadhav. So I mean these are personalities which are legends in themselves. Also, if you look at post the independence, in Dhaka, one of the first units to enter was the Maratha unit, which was known as first Maratha, the Jangi Paltan, which was raised,
yes, sir,
the first Paltan to be raised. And although there is some kind of a dispute that the Paras came in and the Marathas came later, that's immaterial. Paras came by air and we went by land. So the fact of the matter is that the Niaz's house was captured by the Marathas in the sense that the officers of first Maratha had their first dinner, hot cooking dinner in Niaz's house, and thereafter of course they were told to go out of the house because it would have conveyed a very wrong kind of a perception in the environment that the Indian Army's troops have gone into that particular place to do some kind of a looting, etc., which we didn't do. It was just that the officers of the first Marathas were so delighted with this particular action. After all, that was the place from where the power of East Pakistan in those days was emanating. He was the boss. So such like stories are there, many such stories to narrate, which are both legendary. We have had Ashok Chakra winners, a number of them. My own unit, CO, Colonel Dushyant B from 9 Marathas, he earned a Ashok Chakra. Of course, he's no more, posthumous, while fighting the terrorists in J&K in the Uri sector. So the Maratha regiment has a lot to its credit. Colonel Nair in the northeast, he initially, as a major, he got a Kirti Chakra, and when he became the CEO of the battalion and he led an operation and got a Ashok Chakra, he is also no more. I mean, he was killed during the operation. But the stories abound as far as Marathas valor is concerned. We have a whole lot of battle honors to our credit, both post-independence and pre-independence.
Indeed, it is a history of great valor that we should...
In fact, we are also known as the savior of Hussaini Wala. The Pakistanis had almost breached the defences there. It was second Maratha, which is known as Kali Panchvi, which stood its ground and fought till the end, till the Pakistanis went back and defeated. You must see on the map the Hussaini Wala bulge. Hussaini Wala bulge. It's a bulge extending into our country, and if they had crossed that, Firozpur would have been just a stone throw away. So that's the kind of saving of Indian prestige was done by second Marathas. So Pultan is proud of that particular battle. It is celebrated every year by the Marathas.
Sir, now I want to, ask you, request you indeed to give a message to not just the people, military historians, students, experts, and also fellow military officers like you. What are your thoughts about the way forward for the Indian Army?
Well, one word message would be that the world is complex and so are the people abounding the world. So the warfare is even more complex, possibly the most complex beast in the world. Therefore, unless you are dynamic in nature and thinking, you will not be on top of the changes which are taking place, and you will be surprised. So therefore, be capable of surprising the enemy and not being surprised yourself. That's the first big message. And the second message is that in case if you do get into an adverse situation, have the gumption to get out of that through innovation, through quick thinking, and by thinking on your feet. That's the two things which I would like to give to people who are going to be in this kind of a profession. As far as the common youth of our country is concerned, I would like to tell them that seek challenges. The current situation which I find is that we are generally going too materialistic, finding the easy path. Till the time you are not challenged, you really will not be able to give out your best. And unless you are challenged, the best will not come out of you. It will probably hiding somewhere in your, some corner of your mind, and you will not even know about it. So if you have a passion, follow it, and follow it till its conclusion and not leave it in between. So to the youth, this is my message, that seek challenges.
Any other, advice to the military leadership of India at the time? Any things that you want to share?
See, I am too small a person to advise our leadership, etc. But in general, I would like to tell to everyone, including the people in the military or people who are outside, is that just master one quality in your personality, and that is courage. Because if you have courage, then you have everything. And this courage is not merely physical courage. This courage is mental courage. This courage is emotional courage. This courage is a quality which ensures or guarantees all other qualities. And just reflect upon it and you will find that so true it is. The Greeks told it way back. Winston Churchill repeated it after the Second World War. And even in our scriptures, they have always mentioned that Bahaduri, the brave are the ones who will always win. So unless you show that bravery, courage, and let me tell you, I kind of like Field Marshal Manekshaw's famous saying. Of course, it would have been said in some context that if you are not afraid, then you are lying. Otherwise, you are a Gurkha. So what he was telling was that Gurkhas are the bravest of the brave. But that was just I would say kind of a metaphor which he used.
Yes.
But essentially what he was saying, that everybody has fear in him. The challenge lies in overcoming the fear and going ahead and not getting cowed down by that fear. So that's the difference between a leader and difference between a common person.
I hope our viewers will follow the message that you have given, General Saab, today. And again, thank you very much for joining us for this podcast. Deeply appreciated.
Thank you, Arunansh. Thank you very much.